Welcome back to Oregon Football with Chip Kelly as we get ready to begin the second half. And, Coach, again, we talked about it, the momentum that you're taking into the third quarter. Score the final 14 points to go ahead 28-24. You're going to get the ball to start the second half. And it's got to be the type of feeling that the confidence is building. Your team kind of feels like it, like things are going to get going here pretty quick. And, again, being able to start on offense after scoring points like that has to be a good feeling, too.
Well, that was the design. And
that was the hope.
That's what we talked about at halftime and knew we were getting the ball coming out here in the second half, and uncharacteristically turned the ball right over on the opening kickoff and put ourselves in a little bit of a hole. I'll give our defense credit for bailing us out of it, but, you know, that's not the way you want to start the second half. We felt like we did a great job at the end of the first half. We certainly had the momentum. We were getting the ball at halftime. We felt if we could put a drive together here, we'd be in great shape, but not the way we exactly sketched it out at halftime in the locker room.
Well, let's get right into the third quarter highlights. As you mentioned, Cliff Harris is going to have an opportunity to return this opening second half kickoff return, and Oregon's going to get the ball. That was the hope and the design, but unfortunately on this play turns it over deep in your own territory. The only time you put the ball on the ground all game long, offense didn't, but special teams, and puts the defense in a real tough sudden change, if you want to call that situation, and yet they respond well.
Yeah, we practiced this, you know, in the ability to come out and when you know, you do have a turnover, and it's not the turnover that's the biggest thing in college football. It's the response after the turnover, and I thought our defense came up huge.
Well, they did come up huge. Cameron Marshall for 11 up the middle to be able to get it first and goal at the Oregon 5, and what appeared to be a pretty good play in the end zone by Talmadge Jackson. They flag him for pass interference. Frustrating night for Talmadge Jackson, even though he continued to played through it, made some key plays at the end. And but here's the big play right here. Zach Clark knifing through and able to strip him away. Paysinger gets on the fumble. Huge play at this point in time.
You know, when you can get a team to turn the ball over inside the 5-yard line on their way to go in and score, is huge. And our defense did respond. We put them in a bad situation, but it gave us a little bit of breathing room.
Well, after a couple of series exchanges between Oregon and Arizona State, your team takes over 1st and 10 at their own 20 and play to LaMichael James, and then Kenyon Barner on the outside for the quick first down. And again, nice plays to be able to move this ball down the field, and Lavassier Tune on the outside for another 12 yards and a first down. But it leads to a huge play here.
Barner set up to his left this time. Thomas on the snap, going to throw it again. Pump fake, wants to go deep. He's got Huff wide open. He's got it, and he will score at the 10, at the 5. That's a touchdown.
And this is our EA Sports play of the game. Josh Huff, the freshman, his second touchdown of his career. This one a big one. Fake outside, up the field he goes, and he's wide open.
We had really thrown the ball late in the second half to Drew Davis on the perimeter because they were overplaying it and blitzing the quarterback and trying to take away our run game. And then we felt that one of our halftime adjustments is to run the next phase is you know, fake it to Drew and then take Josh over the top, and they bit the cheese, and we got an opportunity to score a touchdown.
No, 54-yarder, and Oregon takes the lead 35-24. 6 plays, 80 yards in a minute 47. And go back on defense here as Stephen Threet has to scramble out for 5 yards. Paysinger runs him out of bounds over on the sideline. And again, the continued pressure and the adjustments you talked about really taking its toll there. Arizona State lucky to get the ball back there, Coach. And then Boyette on third down anticipates this pass perfectly.
Great read by John. Undercuts the receiver, and starting to get stops on third down were key to us in the second half.
No doubt about that. And able to get the ball back and try to make some plays here as you get Jeff Mayo open on down the sideline. Almost hit a big one there that was an opportunity for a touchdown, and too bad you missed it because it was there to be made. And there were some plays actually during the game to be made that you missed, and yet still continue to come back to stick your nose into it. I thought Darren Thomas, as you talked about last night after the game, Darren Thomas stuck his nose in and got hit a lot, yet just played harder and harder and harder. Tough kid.
He did, but we need to capitalize. There were just 3 plays in a row there offensively where it was all us, not them. You know, a drop pass, a missed open receiver, missed block on a linebacker when the quarterback's running with the ball, and we need to capitalize on those situations when they come up again.
Well, Arizona State gets the ball back, and again, some big plays here, or some plays here and there where they're able to try to complete a play here, there. George Bell with the catch there to bring up 3rd and 1. And so they're just trying to move the chains here, but, well, I tell you what, you never give up on a play. 5:08 left in the third.
Threet on first down, back to throw, slings it out. Ball dropped, and it It is no, they're not, haven't blown the whistle yet. It's going to be called a lateral, and Oregon's picked it up and scored. It's called a lateral.
Bo Lacumbo, not only the pressure on the quarterback here, Coach, but he never gives up on the play and goes out, picks up the fumble, runs it in for a touchdown. You coached your team be ready for it all week long, didn't you?
We talked about it, you know, with the amount of times they're throwing swing passes out there and the depth of the quarterback, and with the backs being 2 yards deeper from the start, is that there's a chance that any ball thrown to the edge is going to be a fumble, and to pick it up and run with it and then let the officials try to figure it out after the fact. But it really says a lot to Bo, listening to the coaching. Had a great pressure on the quarterback, and it was a huge play for us in the second half.
Well, you can see what you said to your team and your coaching staff had said to him all week long. More than once, obviously, that came into play. And so 42-24 as Oregon takes the 18-point lead, and Arizona State trying to answer here, trying to make something happen after they had struggled early on in the third quarter. But this pass right here to Kerry Taylor for 9 and a first down. And again, a big play here by DeAndre Lewis, who ran for over 100 yards in the game and had some pass receptions. And they kind of got something going again here for a little bit, didn't they?
They did. You know, when we knew we weren't going to stop them totally and shut them down, but we had to weather the storm and continue to play harder than they did. Talmadge comes up with a big interception here, but unfortunately was flagged for a pass interference call before it. But we can't let that affect what our mentality is, and we need to just continue to fight until the whistle blows.
Well, and Talmadge Jackson didn't. He just kept fighting through it and fighting through it. Here, DeAndre Lewis goes for 6 yards, and 2nd and 4 at the Oregon 10, and Stephen Threet's able to find Mike Willie for the touchdown here as Oregon can't wrap up at the 2, and Willie, big wide receiver, is able to get in the end zone. He is a big kid, isn't he?
He is, but we have to do a better job on the play before this and this play of our ability to tackle in the open field, because we're going to face some other really good receivers in this league, and we need to be able to wrap them up and get them down to the ground.
Well, 8 plays, 68 yards and 232, and they seem to think, at least Arizona State and Stephen Threet, that they have found some sort of rhythm here as he hits George Bell for 25. And then Jamal Miles goes for 5 yards right here. But again, another one of those plays where you've got to be ready and not think that any play is dead. And Casey Matthews picks this one up, Coach. And it's interesting because the whistle is blown dead on this particular play. And so I guess I want to say they get 50% of it right by reviewing it. But this is an opportunity for a touchdown for Oregon, isn't it?
It looks like it. You know, our guys in the booth said the ball was out, and I think the whistle came after the play. That's why they gave us the ball back at the 32, but that would have been another big play for us defensively. You know, to create 7 turnovers like we did speaks a lot about what our defense can do, but the fact that they scored twice on defense in the game, and with the potential to almost score a third time, usually you got a pretty good chance of winning when you can get 3 scores from your defense.
Yeah, well, 42-31 at the end of the third quarter, and it just seemed like more offense was to come, but that's not the case. And so we'll come back and take a look at the fourth quarter, 42-31, Oregon at the end of 3. Welcome back to Oregon football with Chip Kelly. As we begin the fourth quarter, let's get right into the highlights as Stephen Threet and Arizona State start with the ball 1st and 10 on their own 15-yard line, and pass incomplete down the side. Nice play there by Anthony Gilden to be able to break that ball up, Coach. And but Arizona State comes right back with Threet to Willie, and then they call Gilden. And it seemed like this was kind of a common theme throughout the game when it got to the fourth quarter, the helmet leading type of personal foul penalty, and that's what they got Oregon for.
It's an emphasis this year in the NCAA, and they're going to call it. We need to make sure we do a better job of getting our pads where they need to be and making sure we're making tackles the right way.
Well, Stephen Threet scrambles for 5, and then he tries to go to Jarrell Robinson here, but Kenny Rowe on the pressure up the middle forces a high throw here, and John Boyette in coverage, but good pressure again.
It really was, and I think our defense made some great adjustments and negated them from really doing some damage here in the second half, and that was the key to the football game for us.
Well, here's another one of those plays there. David Paulson, tough kid, catches it in traffic for a 14-yard gain, and then another penalty is stacked on top of it. So now the ball's out to midfield, and looks like there might be an opportunity here to get something going offensively. But that tough Arizona State defense along the line, other than LaMichael's 40-yard run, they really did a good job, as you had mentioned earlier on, didn't they?
They did. Their defensive 2 defensive tackles, I thought, played outstanding, caused penetration all game long. We need to shore that up as we continue here in league play, but the key for us really all day long was Jackson Rice.
Boy, no doubt about it. Averaged 46 yards a punt. Many punts inside the 20 and inside the 10-yard line. No return yardage whatsoever here. John Boyette on the stop, 1st and 10. Stephen Threed hits Mike Willie, and then DeAndre Lewis goes for 15 yards. And again, a couple of big plays here and there. Arizona State very good, it seemed like, between the 20s. And even Stephen Threed here gets into the action. A guy that's not known for his swift feet, but he runs for 25 yards down to the Oregon 45-yard line.
He's the defense and ready on 1st down at the Duck 20. Back to throw again. Looks over the middle toward the end zone, wide open, and intercepted in the end zone by Talmadge Jackson. The ball was thrown again behind a wide open Jamal Miles.
Just goes to show you, if you hang in there forever, as Talmadge Jackson had to, here he makes the pick deep inside the red zone. Maybe not a very well thrown ball by Stephen Threed, but your defense makes them pay, and that's what they're supposed to do, Coach.
Talmadge was playing overlap. They had 2 vertical routes on that, and Talmadge did a great job of reading the quarterback's eyes and came back and made a big play when we needed it. You know, and the difference between being a good team and a great team is a good team can move the ball between the 20s. A great team puts it in when it gets to the 20s, and or in our situation, a great defense stiffens when the ball gets inside the 20, and that's what our guys did.
Well, part of the 6 takeaways in the second half, that one by Talmadge Jackson, was Arizona State again hits Kerry Taylor for 23 yards down the sideline, and then DeAndre Lewis is able to get the ball outside on the swing pass for another few yards.
1st down at the Duck 26. Empty backfield again. Threed back to throw the ball. Pressure comes. Going to run away from it toward the end zone. It's intercepted. Casey Matthews goes up and gets the ball.
The second of 3 consecutive turnovers, interceptions, and the 3-man rush, Coach, but looks like Brandon Bear gets into Threed's slap, forces him out, and then he tries to force a ball down the field, but a nice play by Casey Matthews. Soft hands.
We felt like if we could disrupt him and not let him set his feet, that we had an opportunity because we would be in coverage, and Casey played a great game for us all game long. Had the fumble recovery, had the interception, was all over the field for us, and now it's just a matter of us trying to run off the clock. And I know we took the air out of the ball a little bit, but, we're leading by 11. There's less than 8 minutes to go in the second half, and I mean, what we need to do is just continue to control the clock and not give them any opportunities because it's a 2-score game.
Well, Michael breaks a few tackles there for an 11-yarder, brings up a 3rd and 2, and again, nice little cutback here, very patient, gets 3 yards. You talked about it at 7:01 is when you took over with the ball, and milking the clock, making some things happen. Jeff Mayo for a quick 11 yards and another 1st down out to the 39, and just hope to be able to get a few more 1st downs to really bleed this thing down. But on 3rd down, unfortunately, ball a little bit high, stops the clock, have to punt it away. But again, Jackson Rice was tremendous. And here's another one right here, Coach. High hanger, pushes him back inside the 10-yard line, may have even been downed inside the 10, but here again, now Arizona State really has to make some things happen, take some chances, and the chances don't pay off. A couple of nice stops here, and then Cliff Harris hangs in there, continues to play very, very well for you at the cornerback position, and it pays off right here as Threed scrambles out.
To get 7 turnovers and 6 in the second half really says a lot about what our defense can do, and if we continue to do that, we're going to be in almost every game we play this year.
Well, the victory formation, which you always like to see at the end of the game, and this was a team that, as you mentioned, defensively on the field for 99 plays in the game. Very, very warm night. I think a exhausted, hard-working, relieved group. Let's go down to the locker room and get some comments from them.
Yeah, they really keyed on stopping the run, and all the credit goes out to those guys. Those guys really had a great defense. We really can't do much, whenever they can on the run, but, we just got to keep grinding it out, the whole game.
They're doing a good job of fitting the receivers in between our coverages, and at halftime we focused on fixing that, and we did that, and then we got on our pressures, we had to have the backside come over and take away that throw, and we feel we did a good job doing that.
Oh yeah, we had an all-around good game today. When the offense, like I told the defensive guys, when we wasn't on, the defense stepped up. When the defense made me miss some miscues, the offense stepped up a little bit. So we just got to all put it together and just work together. But it was a good all-around game for special teams and defense and offense. So good win for the whole team.
When you get into the Pac-10, it's going to be a battle each week because the Pac-10's got a lot of balance. We got a lot of great teams in the Pac-10. So You know, throughout a game, it's going to be long games. It's a long season. You know, sometimes they're going to make plays, sometimes we're going to make plays, and luckily, coaches put us in a good situation, and we bounced back and made some plays.
You know, we have games like that. Sometimes the offense carries the load, and sometimes the defense carries the load. Our offense was struggling a little bit, and our defense really stepped it up, and they bailed us out.
It's going to be tough on the road. It's a league game, and all these counting. When you come away with a W, it's a great feeling.
Coaches take pride in teaching us. You know, they're going to, like I said, throughout a long game and a long season, you know, the other team's going to make plays. We face a lot of great athletes and great teams in this league, and they're going to make plays. We just got to continue to battle, and we battle throughout this game, and things end up going our way.
Well, definitely. It's going to be a huge game. They got a great quarterback. Actually, they got the whole, I think, O-line returning. And, I mean, what happened last year, you definitely looked at this game and wanted it to come pretty quick.
Well, Coach, hard-fought victory. We talked about against a very quality Arizona State team, a team that has a lot of speed, a lot of very, very good defensive players. One of the leading defenses last year from the Pac-10 Conference. Didn't lose many people. They showed their stuff. Tough loss against Wisconsin, tough loss against Oregon at home, but your team rose to the occasion, made key plays when they needed to, and that's a sign of a great team, isn't it?
We hope so. You know, we're still a work in progress. You know, we're 4-0, we're 1-0 in the league. We take every game as it comes, and that's on a weekly basis. You know, we knew we weren't going to be winning games 69-0 and 72-0 as this whole slate takes itself through. I think we have the most competitive league from top to bottom in the conference. This team was picked to finish, I think, 9th in the league. UCLA was picked to finish 8th in the league, and all UCLA did on Saturday was go down to Texas and beat Texas. So there's quality from top to bottom. You got to come to play each week. You know, we get in the locker room, and I'm hearing the Cal-Arizona score. You know, Cal lost a tough one a week ago to Nevada, and Arizona has a huge win over Iowa, and it's a 10-9 final down in Tucson. So you got to come to play each week. There's a lot of really, really good teams in our league, and anytime you can get a victory, it's a good victory, and we'll take it. We'll learn from it. There's things we can do a lot better on each side of the ball and in special teams, but to be 1-0 in the league and 4-0 right now is a great place to be.
Yeah, Coach, and what did you say to your team in the locker room afterwards? I mean, I had seen some of your comments, obviously, in relation to a team that goes into the locker room pretty tired, pretty exhausted on a hot night. Can seem like they're down, and yet you got to get them fired up because obviously they just won a game, a very tough Pac-10 road conference game, and need to feel good about that. And I'm sure everything that you brought forward in the coaching staff was very positive to the team.
You know, we talked about how hard it is again, like we talked all week about to win on the road in this league, and that you better enjoy it. You know, and I've coached on teams where your goal was to get a first down. You know, and our goal was to win this football game, and that's what we did. We were smiling in Tempe. We sang the fight song. That's our goal every Saturday night. Do we get an opportunity to sing the fight song? Let's get on the plane. Let's go home, go to sleep, get up, and then prepare for a really good Stanford team starting on Monday.
Well, no doubt about that. And sing the victory song they did. 42-31 Oregon over Arizona State.